And we are live.
It's funny because every time JD's all like, "Are you ready?" I always think of like I say yeah because it's like kind of a reflex, but I'm always like, "Wait, no, I'm not." We are live with see, like case in point, Ultra Podcast Z. So yeah, it's episode 190, Ultra Podcast Z, one of the last of the year. Um it's been a crazy 2022. I'm Manuel as always. I watched the last episode back when I was editing it, and the last episode it was if no one's seen it, it's a retrospective not retrospective of A to J because it's our anniversary, and I did it with Snakz. And we literally just started talking about A to J. Did you notice that, JD?
Yes, I
noticed that. We
noticed
did
that.
not introduce ourselves. We did not introduce ourselves. We did not introduce the show. We did not do anything.
Who needs that? Yep.
And it wasn't until I was editing it, I was like, "Oh, oops." So yeah,
See, Manuel, that's the
connection.
Joy of covering your face for the whole thing. You can just say that afterwards and add it in post.
Exactly. I'll just like, just move my head quiet. Just I should have just talked over it. Yeah, there you go. Oops, messed up. Anyways, tonight joined by Tiffany. Go ahead and introduce yourself a bit.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I used to be on these podcasts like when we first started.
It's funny because like I was thinking about that the other day, and I was thinking about that last year too, because last year you were supposed to be on one of the end of year ones, and I was having some weird power issues, like literally power in my house issues. So like my power kept going out, and I think my power went out the night we were supposed to do the show, and I'm like, I can't do it. It's like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when it's coming back on, but I probably didn't
ask me ever again.
I know.
And I was like, is that an excuse? Maybe he just pretended his power's out, so I can't be on it.
And I think prior to that, you've been on another end of year one, but yeah, you hadn't been on anything for years. Like, I think you've been on like one or two in the past 3 or 4 years, and then you were on a ton of them before that.
Well, I guess so. Well, I was on like maybe pandemic. Like a little bit during the pandemic, just like a little bit. I think.
I remember we did that episode where we ended up talking a lot about JV and Japan travel because I think we were just reminiscing that we couldn't travel at the time, and but it's been a while. It's been a while. Did you know that A to J just had its 8th anniversary?
Really?
Yeah, we've been around for 8 years. Isn't that insane?
Wow, too long, disbanded.
It's funny because that's always the go-to thing. It's like, and I was on the last week. We came to the conclusion. Me and Snakz did. At least I did. And Snakz agreed. We need to get A to J to 21 so that it's legally old enough to drink.
So long.
I know. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't think. I don't know if you ever watch Game of Thrones, but it's like, what's that thing that Baratheon, and the first king says, like, I'm gonna eat, drink, and whore myself to an early grave. I gotta slow down. I got 13 more years to go now, apparently, in my new planning.
You have to live. So no more. What do you say? Whoring yourself
eat, drink.
What do you say?
I guess I can keep the whoring up. I can whore myself out as much as I want, but like maybe slow down a little on the eating and drinking. So maybe.
No eating and drinking, just whoring yourself out now. How you'll live.
Anyway,
Manuel, the quote is, "I'm not trying to honor you. I'm trying to get you to run my kingdom while I eat, drink, and whore my way to an early grave."
See, so basically, that's the thing I should say to JD. JD, you're my Ned Stark.
Oh, thanks. So what am I going to learn? That you have a couple bastard children?
And you're going to get beheaded for that. So yeah, there you go. Oh man, have you ever seen Game of Thrones, Tiffany? I feel like you don't get any of these references.
Hey, I watched up until season 3. Like I marathoned it within a week because like when season 3 was about to come out, my friends were like, "We're doing a watch party and you're invited." But it was like I wanted to go and be friends with them, and they're like, "Oh, it's okay if you don't come if you don't watch Game of Thrones." And I was like, "Oh no. Watch that."
Posture check.
Posture check.
What does that mean? Is your posture bad?
Check your posture.
Just sit up.
Oh, that's too tiring.
So you never watched after just because your friends wanted to watch?
Yeah, I like watched it, but I don't even remember other than like a bunch of incest sex.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much half the fucking show.
Yeah.
I probably never mentioned this, but when I watched the last season, the horrible last season, the only reason I went back to Game of Thrones actually, because I kind of stopped watching, I think in season 5 or 6, I don't remember, it doesn't matter. And I went back to it because same thing. Some friends of mine were like, "Oh, we're doing a watch party." It was only like 6 episodes. Like we're doing a watch party for the last 6 episodes, and I'm like, I don't really want to watch Game of Thrones, but I do want to hang out with my friends, and I don't really hang out with that often.
Yeah, exactly.
So I watched them all with them, and I did not catch up. I did not whenever something weird would happen, like they would explain it to me after the show. Because I'm like, wait, who are they? Because I'm like, that wasn't in some season 7 bullshit or whatever, and they'd have to explain it to me like, oh, in the last season, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I don't need any more. Manuel is a boomer. You did not like the last season, JD. Get out of here. No
yes,
one
I
liked
did.
It. No one liked it. Stop lying.
Seasons were there.
anyway, but yeah, and any cool little takeaway from A to J's 8th anniversary? Do you have any fun moments in the past few all this time?
That's me.
Yeah, before we jump into like tonight's topic, I thought it would be funny to have fun to have a nice little recap.
Like fun moments, actual fun moments, or like fun in a sarcastic way?
Oh, give the sarcastic one first. I want to hear that.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like, this is all like a blur now. There's so many times where something was like, oh, that's very questionable, or being able to see something behind the scenes, or being like, oh, we're interviewing these people. I don't know. Or all the times that we've done panels and you're drunk. You know, those are fun times.
There's actually been it's funny because like some people think I'm joking. I remember I talked to a friend about this sometime I forgot, a con friend, this time at a con this year, I think at Fanime. And I had to explain to them that the stories where I was literally carried to panels and propped up onto a table were not exaggeration at all.
Yeah.
Like that's happened a couple times. Like where I'm like, the panel's canceled, guys, and like Tom and like whoever the fuck else would be like, no, man, you're doing your panel. And they literally like drag me to the panel, like literally drag me, like half carry, drag me, sit me on the table. They sit me down, and I'm like leaning off the table, so they like get my elbow and they go like this.
Hey, Manuel, have you ever thought that you have a problem?
To be fair, I have cut back from that level of excess. That was a bit too much. There was some not quite that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, remember when we locked you in the bathroom, Tiffany?
It wasn't the bathroom, it was the closet.
The closet. It was a closet.
Yeah.
Remember we locked you in the closet?
It was that was, you're thinking toilet or like the bathroom, because that was the same day that the bathroom clogged.
Yeah, which is why you're in the closet, because you were changing in the closet.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I'll just change here, and you're like, you can't ever get out. And fun time.
And then we filmed it.
Yeah.
And then while you're in there, like you're in the closet. This is all on camera, by the way. I should upload this, and everyone will hate me.
Oh my God.
And then you hear you from the closet, like you stop knocking. You're like, guys, I think someone's at the door. You're in the closet still. You're still locked in there, and they were. It was somebody coming to clean the toilet, and to unclog the toilet, and that person was the one who let you out, not us.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, that person
forever.
Exactly. Everyone was. Well, it was kind of funny that like he probably had no idea what the fuck he was walking into. Like you're in the closet, you're talking from the closet. There's a thing barricading it, and we're filming it, and the toilet's flooded.
Exposed, canceled, disbanded. J.
Oh, that was the best though. Good times. That was when we interviewed Morning Musume. So yeah, that was
the same time you broke your foot, which was also fun. So
yeah, I broke my foot at the Morning Musume concert, and these fuckers left me.
We had priorities. Okay, we gotta go look at the press lounge, okay, and see if there was something to drink, because we were thirsty, you know.
That was so. I sent that. I'm like, guys, can you go like see if somebody can? Because I couldn't walk. Can you see if they can give? I think we were looking for a wheelchair, or something like that. See if the venue had one. And you guys disappear. And you guys show back up with coffee and hot chocolate.
Yeah.
It wasn't
even that good, TBH.
It was like that literal meme when you make yourself late to class. You have a coffee.
You come in with a coffee.
I'm like, guys, did you find the wheelchair? No, but we found coffee and hot chocolate.
Yeah. Okay. There's other places that you found. Someone helped you. It's all good. It worked out.
Oh, Warren says hello, Tiffany. Did you even get to see him when he was messed up at let's not go into that story. I don't want to.
Manuel, let's get on to our topic.
Let's get into the topic. Yeah. Enough reminiscing. We could do a whole Manuel fuck. See, don't you love that? I'm like,
Manuel?
Oh, isn't it messed up? You guys left me when I broke my foot. That I forgot that was the same. Probably that morning when we locked you in the closet. Anyway. So yeah, we'll get to. I wanted to talk. Speaking of events, I wanted to talk about like topic for tonight is more like I feel like we have to start with this, and it's kind of like the elephant in the room. What level of pandemic are you on, Tiffany?
What level? What is it? What's the increments? How do you do that? Give me an example.
Do you still mask up everywhere you go?
Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, like, it's not to the point where I'm wearing like a double mask and like I refuse to ever eat anywhere, or like I don't ever meet up with my friends, and like I always have masks on when I'm with my friends or anything. But like, yeah, if I go into a store or anything that's public, I usually mask up. Yeah.
Because it was funny, like we were doing this last week, and out of nowhere, Warren, and mind you, I feel like we have to talk about this because I want to talk about the state of events, because a lot of it has to do with like a lot of these are random stories about like, oh, remember ALA when Omicron was raging, but like shit like that. But like Warren was in the chat last week and he was talking about how him and Leslie don't wear masks anywhere anymore, and I'm like, you guys get out of here.
Yeah.
I remember when we were at ALA, which is coming up, by the way, but we're at ALA this year in January, we had roommates. Like one of our roommates literally did not take off his mask in the hotel room. So like, which I guess makes sense, but that like, especially then, I guess, but like that struck me as so weird, and he kind of stuck to his side of the room and never really came over to associate with us.
Yeah.
Well, that's just everyone when you're around Manuel.
I mean, we would drink together and it'd be like I pour him a shot and it's like, leave it right there on the table. He'd come get it. You know what I mean? Like kind of like a relay system.
I don't know if that would help at that point. If you're like rooming with someone that's not masking up and stuff. Because actually, masks are supposed to help prevent spread more than it is to prevent like you getting it, right? It's supposed to be like if someone else wears a mask, then they're not spitting out anything. So
we're not scientists, by the way. No.
Yeah, Leslie is saying no. I don't know if she wants to correct this specifically, but she's saying, "OMG, that's not true." Lol.
Yeah, I don't know to which point, but like, yeah, I don't think if you have one person masking and one person not masking, like it might help a little bit, but it doesn't help like a lot anymore.
It's still more effective than.
It's better to just room somewhere with no one or room with other people that do mask or whatever. In my opinion.
It's funny because that was the con where everyone like dropped out of coming, and like including you, Tiffany. You and Angie were supposed to perform at the con.
I didn't want to travel. Like for you guys, it would have been like a couple, like maybe an hour drive or something. But for me, it was gonna be a whole plane ride or whatever. So I didn't want to go on a plane.
Oh, Leslie's saying it's not true because apparently Warren was lying. Apparently they still mask up. I don't know. That's what Warren said, and I guess Warren's the one not masking. For the record, I guess
Warren's just not masking up. He's just lumping both of them together.
Like there are times I go somewhere not masked because I took it off and I don't feel like getting a new one. Because I do like it still strikes me funny how some people will take off their mask, put it in their pocket, and put it back on. I'm like, that kind of defeats the purpose of wearing a mask. But especially if it's a disposable one, I should say more accurately. So like so I tend to throw them away after I use them. I'm very I guess it's not wasteful because it's meant to do that. But like, so there'll be times I won't put one on if I'm like just jumping into a store, like doing something like really fast. But I still wear one everywhere, and every so often I get like I have gotten like people like, why are you wearing a mask? Yeah. Believe it or not. And I'm like, I used to think that didn't happen. I'm like, oh, nobody's really gonna come to a stranger and ask that, but I've gotten that. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was waiting for my food in the Domino's, and mind you, it's a Domino's has a really tiny counter area, like a not counter, but like a front, like where you wait. And somebody asked me why I'm wearing a mask. It's like, oh, the pandemic's over. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not even talking to you. Wait for your fucking pizza and shut up. It's like, what do we do?
What the heck?
But yeah. But ALA, it's sad because a lot of people didn't go to that. I'm not, but then again, I say that, but I did look at the graph of like infections and whatever, and it was like the biggest spike of the year was during that weekend, like that second weekend of that ALA was on. So yeah, I guess they were right.
Yeah, no, that's probably why everyone canceled, because it was like obviously going up to there. And I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe I don't want to get COVID. So.
It's funny because like, we were supposed to do an idol panel. I don't know if you remember the idol panel we were supposed to do, Tiffany. It was that variety one that we like never do anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what I was thinking even submitting that, because the whole idea was that there were games.
Yeah.
And like,
how do you do the games?
And mind you, that game never worked, so we're never gonna do it again. Remember that one where you blew in the tube?
Yeah, that's like a COVID nightmare.
Yeah, imagine if we did that in a post-2020 world. Imagine, like, put your mouth on this tube that we've hopefully cleaned before this and just breathe in each other's mouths.
I can't believe we did that before. Now that you think about it, it's like, oh my god, why did we do that? It's so gross. But then back then it was just funny. Like, look at these people blowing at each other.
Honestly, even though that game hardly ever worked, it was still fun to do it because everyone was just like, what the fuck are we doing on stage? Like, if you walked in out of nowhere, it's like, why are these two people on their knees like blowing into a tube?
And they're usually just like randos, people that don't. It's not like the original one made sense because they were like teammates, or like they work together. They're idols that work together, so they know each other at least.
Oh gosh! Apparently, we're the ones who started COVID-19. We were starting the bad practices that led to this.
Hey, I had a fever right before COVID outbreak, so that means I'm patient zero, right?
And there were people like you. I remember you were sick right before the whole thing, and I was like, "Did Tiffany have COVID? Does Tiffany have?" That was always the story, because like, did so and so? I was sick right before. Like, I don't remember what the fuck happened in November. I think we had a con sometime around then or something, or I went to a con, and I was sick too. And I was like, "Oh no, it was during ALA, because ALA still happened in 2020."
Yeah,
and when I got and mind you, COVID was already a thing. It was already like happening. It was like the thing that happened
at the end of the year.
Yeah, it was like, it's in Asia and there's a few cases here, but they're isolated. It'll be over by next month. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah.
And I got sick. I had and who knows if I even had like patient zero COVID. I mean, I wasn't even patient zero at that point. Like, it was in the country.
Yeah.
And I got sick. And I always thought about that. I'm like, was that COVID? But then again, I eventually did get COVID, and if they were the same thing, the first one was light, because the second one I thought I was dying.
Yeah, I don't think, because now that people describe how COVID feels like, oh, I don't think I had COVID. I had a fever, but I never had like all the other things that come with it. I could still taste something, so that was fine. I never coughed like that either. I was just dying. But I drove all the way to LA with a fever, so all for a panel. All for A to J. Canceled.
Do you remember the ALA that I can't remember which one it was. Do you remember the ALA I went to it when I had a fever? I did an ALA like in 2018 or something like that. Sick.
I don't remember that.
And
maybe
like,
I don't know. I don't remember.
And like, I tell people this story now, even to the people who were there with me and knew, and the biggest precaution we took about Manuel being sick, and kind of this happens other times, but the before times, just don't share a drink with me, don't share food with me. That was the big precaution. Other than that, just roll the dice, see if you catch Manuel's flu. But I went to a con sick like that. And I look back on that and I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know you yet. But me and Molly did this one convention in 2015 or 14 called Anime California, which you actually went to the next year when you were performing.
Yeah.
But the year before, it was just me and Molly. I actually was so sick. I lost my voice on one of the days. So I went to that convention that sick. So I'm like, man, you remember how
people used to just go to things sick? Like they used to just be like, "Oh, I'm sick, but I can't skip, so I'm gonna go." So no one cared. They're like, "Oh, just don't share food with me, and it's fine."
I'm pretty sure that and it's funny because this kind of came. I know we're mildly off topic, JD. Don't worry, we'll get back to it in a second. But I feel like part of it comes I remember when the pandemic was raging and everybody was all like, "Oh, food service workers, you guys need to be more safe." And I'm like, guys. I literally used to go. I used to work at Subway. For those who don't know, I literally used to go into Subway, mad on the flu, mad dying for either one or two reasons. One, probably because I couldn't really afford not to go because I wanted the money. But two, just as important, there were times I tried to call out, and they're like, "No, you need to get your ass over here."
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care how sick.
Yeah, sick. No.
So it's just so funny. I'm like, guys, don't you know that if you ever eaten at fast food anywhere, probably even normal, probably even sit down food, I don't think it's even a fast food thing. Even when I was at Party City, there were times when I had to go in, same thing. There was a little different because I was not a ground level employee, so I could get away with being in the office. But there were times that I would be just dying, and I'm just there anyway. With public facing business. I'm sure you had shit like that when you work a job. It's you're coming into work or you're fired.
Yeah, I'm making boba and I'm dying, but they're like, "Oh, well, can you find someone to replace you?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, that's not my job.
Yeah, that's not my job. But okay, I guess if you're threatening me, then I guess I'll come in and spit into the drinks for all the customers.
Homies need their subs. Yeah, apparently everyone needed their sub with the side of the flu.
Yeah, it's an extra topping. You should be charging.
Exactly. I should be charging you for sneezing your. I've never said that.
It's gonna get cut out, and then someone's gonna use it. They're gonna be like, "This guy sneezes in people's sandwiches."
That feels like someone's weird kink, and we're going to weird places. We need more.
Okay, Manuel, come on.
We do need more protection from mercury. Anyways, be careful if you have food. Everyone's sick. Anyway, but yeah, ALA 2022 was funny because I'm I don't know why I submitted that panel. I'm not sure what I was thinking that we could do that in a post-pandemic world. That soon. I mean, maybe years from now when everyone's really forgotten, and by then I won't want to do it. But it's Manuel's too old to play games with you.
Yeah, he's too old to blow into pipes with another person.
But yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting con because, like I said, everybody was so scared of it, but scared of getting COVID. No one I knew got it at that convention, but so many people I know got it during Fanime.
Yeah. There's more people there too, so
I guess that does make sense.
Yeah.
But there were so many people I know who got it, and some people who got it bad. And I'm like, that was probably and that was the con. To be fair, that's the only con period to this day that I think was actually enforcing masks.
Yeah. It was probably the most strict one. It still was bad, but I guess it's just the amount of people and stuff like that. And I mean, even if they enforce masks, you go outside and you're probably unmasking in front of all these crowds of people. So,
but I remember we had to wear masks. I'm pretty sure I didn't go by stage 0 that much. I did go to your performance. I don't remember if you were wearing masks, but I do remember that Molly complained about wearing masks on stage. So I assume that most of you did. So
it was up to the personal, if the groups didn't want to, they didn't have to. I think for the Fanime itself, the policy was oh yeah, you could not wear it while you're performing. But for the Maid Cafe, they were you gotta wear.
So that's
why Molly was complaining, because Molly was obviously going to mask. But then when I performed with Marjorie,
you were wearing one, right?
Permission. Yeah, we were is it okay if we don't mask up? And And they were like, yeah, it's okay as long as you're okay with it. So, and we're like kind of far from the audience, so it's okay. We're not like in their face or doing anything with them. So, yeah. Then I got COVID, so shut up, let's go. Well, I didn't get any symptoms. I was so asymptomatic. I didn't even know I had COVID. I like after a week, I was like, I should check. I was inside for the whole week. And I was like, okay, I guess this is the last day that I should be checking. So then I was like, I probably don't have it. And I got a kit and I checked. And then I had COVID. And I was like, I don't feel anything. So I waited for another 2 weeks or whatever, right? And every day of those 2 weeks, I was testing positive. I never not tested positive within those 2 weeks, but the PCR was negative, and like a different company's kit would show me negative. So I'll never know if I actually had COVID. I just assume I had COVID, and that I was just laying 2 weeks in bed doing nothing. I pretended that I was sick for like a couple days because I didn't want to do anything for work. I was like, I'm so sick. I have COVID. I can't sit up. I took COVID sick time, and then I just laid in bed and went on my phone and stuff.
Oh my god. No, what I mean, I don't know, because there are a lot of asymptomatic cases. But when I had it, I was definitely dying. But I had that good old fashioned pre-vaccine COVID. So like,
yeah.
So that was a little different. Yeah, the really spicy one with the full kick. Yeah. But I won't name them just because I don't know if I should. But like somebody else who got it at Fanime got it really bad. Like they were like in the hospital for I mean like okay they were. I shouldn't say that they were in the hospital per se, like they were staying physically overnight, but they kept going back because it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it was that kind of COVID that turned into like pneumonia for a hot minute. And it's like, oh my God.
Crossover, you know? Like how they everyone used to be like, oh my God, consars, but it's not now just a hyper variant anime weeb Omicron Prime.
Omicron. I mean, like, part of it's like, well, how will ALA be? It's like, are we gonna get sick again? Because, like,
well, I heard that. Like, well, for PMX, there's not enough people, I think, but I heard that AX people were also getting sick. I had a couple of friends that went and they got sick. So
I don't know.
The size is different. You know what I mean? Like ALA, I think is not big enough that it'll be that much of a. Maybe it's safer because it won't be like AX level or Fanime level. You know, smaller con, but it's a bigger venue this year too, right? No, I don't know.
Oh, you didn't go when it was there last year, did you? I forgot. So, or this year, I should say. Yeah. It's in the Long Beach Convention Center, which you have been at because that was where Anime California was that one year. But it uses a lot more of the convention center.
Yeah, I've been there for AX too, so it's not like I don't know.
Oh, you've been that long ago?
Yeah.
Were you there the year Skin was there? Because I've been talking about that.
Yeah, I went to go watch Skin. I was like, I'm gonna go watch Skin. Yeah, because I went to whatever LA event that they did for J-Rock right before that, where they announced like, yeah, we're forming this thing called Skin. Here it is. And then we're like, oh my God. And they're like, yeah, we're going to do an AX performance. And I'm like, I got to go, Mom. We got to go. And I'm driving my mom. I'm driving both my parents and a friend. We went to go watch Skin. It was so far away. And I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah. For those that don't know, Skin was the super group with Miyavi, Gact, Yoshiki, and Sugizo. And it's kind of reformed as the last Rockstars, but now it's Hyde instead of Gact. But yeah, I forgot you were there. I think we talked about this before, but yeah. So I'm like that. I think AX was only at the Long Beach Convention Center that 1 year.
Yeah,
it might have been it was just that 1 year
before, or like maybe 2 years before. It was in Anaheim.
Yeah. It's funny because everyone still goes on about like take it back to Anaheim, and I'm like, guys,
why?
Maybe that was the time you went, and that's most memorable for you. But it was only there for like 2 or 3 years. I think it's been there for like 4 or 5. Don't correct me.
It wasn't even that great at Anaheim. Yeah. The only good thing was that you dress up, and everyone that's going to Disneyland is
there. You go.
What is this? And you're like, I love anime. Fuck your kids.
But yeah, like I always thought that I always think it's weird people like go on about. Yes, Anaheim does suck. I don't like that area per se because I guess because it's Disneyland, it's always like so full of people. I guess LA is just as bad, but mind you, LA has gotten bad. When it first moved to LA, it was a lot better. AX was, but
yeah,
it is what it is. Anyway, what was I saying? I lost train of thought here. But yeah, Fanime, everyone got sick. Apparently, somebody else was dying from COVID then too. Well, not dying. I say that. Well, they had it bad. I guess it could have gone more south. But yeah, they're fine now. And as far as I know, yeah, they're alive. But yeah, it's funny because I remember thinking back to ALA that even though I am mostly cautious, mind you, this is the same hotel room where one of our roommates will not be near us, is wearing a mask during the thing. And like we invited some people over to come over, like Snakz came over with his friends, and like none of them would take off their masks, like at all. And like we ordered pizza for us all, and like we had to like twist their arms for them to eat because they did not want to eat. Not because they didn't want to eat. I shouldn't say that.
You don't want to eat like in the same space because then they have to unmask and eat. Yeah.
So it was this whole issue, and so this is going on. But meanwhile, when like later on in the night when we're all drinking a hell of a lot, like we're all like, no one share chasers. Everyone be careful. Let's not be too crazy. Fucking like me and Molly and maybe a couple of people, me and Molly and Morgan were just sharing these cheeses like nothing.
Oh my god.
And like at the time, Molly was not totally sure she didn't just get over COVID.
Oh.
So I was stupid.
It was a COVID party.
There was a stupid. None of us got it though, for the record. Thank God. So and I've managed to dodge a bullet like so far this year. I probably jinxed it by saying this. I'm probably gonna get it at LA.
You're gonna get it. Yeah, you're gonna get it within this year, and then you're gonna get it again at ALA.
I'm not gonna lie, it's my biggest fear that I'll get COVID before ALA. It's like my biggest fear. I'm like, I cannot not go. If I'm asymptomatic, I'm showing. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
Cancel
I'm ditching again. Goodbye.
Cancel Manuel now for saying that. No, I'm joking about that. But like, I remember last year we had to cancel a panel because Rose didn't go, and I didn't know what to do. Fun fact: we're doing that panel again this year, and even
with
though,
Rose?
yeah, even it's a history of J horror. So it's not, we did a body horror one at PMX, but this one's history of J horror, and it's a lot more like there's a lot more different movies, a lot more J horror things, and because it's a workshop, we have this whole idea that we're gonna make the perfect J horror movie within it. Like, is it going to be a ghost? Is it going to be like, is it going to be a ghost? Is it going to be a monster? Is it going to be a zombie? What's the best J horror monster? Because we're going to show a bunch of different clips from different types of movies. Like, we show like Stacy's and Ringu and all other shit. I called it Ringu for the first time. So someone canceled me.
Manuel.
I get
Shame on you.
And I'm like, I hate when people call it Ringu because like it's ring. Like when people call it house.
It's just Japanese people saying ring.
Yeah, just like when people call House, there's a movie called House. I'm sure you've heard of it, maybe Tiffany. It's like the very infamous movie that's very wacky. People call that Houseu. And I'm like, I get you trying to differentiate it from other house media.
Yeah, not House, but Houseu. Ringu.
Ringu. And
it's
Ringu.
Like Pingu, but it's Ring.
Ringu sounds a bit, I don't know why, but Ringu to me, whenever I hear it, I think too much of like, and I know I've never really had the brand, but like I guess ragu, but it makes me think of pasta sauce. I hear Ringu, and I think of pasta sauce. I'm like, I think of a jar of like marinara sauce to put on my noodles. I'm like, nah.
I still think of Pingu instead. So.
Pingu. I got COVID after ALA. You did not get COVID after ALA, Weston. We talked about this. Shut up.
Let the man believe in whatever.
Just start. You weren't here earlier when we were spreading the false news about how masks work.
Yeah, Manuel. Like, since you're probably editing this episode, could you please put a big disclaimer over that?
Oh God!
Like we're not. This is.
We are not medical professionals.
Yes. Consult your local physician for any
Yes.
medical needs and questions. Don't listen to what we said.
And then it just means that everyone should be masking up for other people too, not just for yourself, but other people.
But yeah, like it's funny because all these conventions keep saying they're pro-mask, and I mean pro-mask, that they're enforcing masks. Like I think they just say that. Yeah, they say that just to technically have it as a policy, but they never enforced it. ALA I don't think has a policy now because I think PMX was saying that masks are required, but nobody was checking. But like Tiffany said, it was small, so like you could just dodge everyone if you wanted. It wasn't that crazy.
Yeah. But this year might be more crowded because I think last year a lot of people canceled, so it was like even smaller in attendance.
Yeah, I barely went to ALA last year. Like I was there to do the panels, and I walked around once. But I was kind of scared about like the whole Omicron thing. What is on my mask? I just realized there's like something staining the bottom. Oops. But there's like something on it, like food.
Ew.
So don't ask what I did with the mask. I need to wash it anyway. So yeah, like I'm like I want to see it this year. I didn't get a chance to. You guys are performing, so I guess I'll go inside at least for that.
Yeah.
I've never been a con person. I do want to do more interviews. I am doing a side project, like job-wise, I should say. So I'll be around doing extra stuff. I shouldn't talk about that much, but keep an eye. I probably won't be drunk in the hotel room as much as usual.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that shocking?
That is shocking, actually.
I mean, did you even leave the hotel room other than to maybe get food or alcohol at AX?
He doesn't even leave to get food. He just eats or whatever. He always just orders it.
And it's even better because I'm pretty sure Tiffany has seen this too, but like I don't think you really experienced this unless you're room with me. I typically even send people to do even the other tasks. I'm like, I ordered food, go pick it up.
Yeah, go pick it up. Oh, I need ice. Go get it. I need this. Go get it for me. Oh, pick up the person that's waiting for us outside.
Exactly. So
he really won't go outside unless he needs to go to a panel or an interview. I swear. Yeah.
It's funny because I very rarely leave. And I'm not going to lie, part of it has gotten worse during the pandemic because it's like people, but yeah, it was always kind of like that. I don't know why I'm trying to like lie sometimes. Because I'm that kind of person, and I saw a meme about this, so I'm not sure if this is a weird trait of a certain type of person, but like when you have that one thing planned at like 11 p.m. or like 2 p.m., so you spend most of your day up until then just planning for that and not doing anything. I finally had to stop doing that. I'm like, Manuel, you have more things to do than that one thing planned. You need to like. So part of it's like, I can go see the con, but I only have 4 hours until the interview at 2. Like Manuel, that's 4 hours.
That's
you have more than enough time.
Hours. You're like, I gotta prep though.
Manuel,
mentally prepare.
That's called being ADHD.
Is that what it is?
I am not. Once again, I'm not a medical expert. I am just someone who, with ADHD, who feels the exact same way.
Oh, so perhaps I developed I don't know if one can develop it, if it can manifest more as time goes on.
It could also be just on what? Have you gone diagnosed? They're like, nah, you don't have it.
No, I've never done it. So yeah, it's gone undiagnosed until now.
Yeah. But I get it. Like, you don't want to do anything because you're like, well, I gotta prepare. And then what if I'm like late or something, I don't want to go and do something else and then not be prepared for the thing in like 6 hours. That's like me all the time. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go out in 6 hours. Don't do anything else. Oh my God. In like 5 hours, I have to get ready to go out to do that thing in 6 hours.
So yeah, I do that a lot. I've been getting over that the past couple of months. I'm like, come on, Manuel, like you really got to stop that. Because I do suck at multitasking in general, but that's not even multitasking. That's waiting for a task way down the road.
Yeah, that's just singular task. Just hone in on one task.
But yeah, so I will be out of the room more. I don't think I have to be out of it that much. I'm still going to be there, but I definitely want to do some interviews. I've been talking about doing, actually, I won't say them in case it doesn't happen, but there's some interviews. I talked to Tiffany about some of them. We're doing 4 panels, and then I have my side thing. But going back, I don't know. How do you think cons are these days post-COVID, masks aside?
Cons? I mean, I feel like people missed anything. Like people used to be like, I'm kind of tired of cons. I don't want to do cons anymore. I'm just going to go there to hang out with my friends. Like all my friends would be like, I don't go there for cons. I go there for people. Ha ha ha, But now everyone's like desperate to do anything. So everyone wants to do con things again. Like all my friends are doing con things again. I like started going to panels and actual con things again and not just being like, oh, I'm just gonna go shop and then like chill in someone's room or go get food. So I think a lot of people are doing that. That's like so crowded all the time in every panel too.
I know. That's the biggest thing. Like it blows my mind how cons have like really bounced back. I'm not sure if this is why, but there've been a ton of new cons again.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, what the fuck? It's like now they're coming out with new cons. Like, you remember how like in 2015, well, pre-2016, there used to be a ton of little cons?
Yes.
There kind of are again.
They were dying around like 2018. I
yeah,
think.
Like most
they
of
were
them, like,
all just dying. Like all of them were like, we can't do it anymore. No one's coming. Oh, they were, or like something about whatever their organization just crumbled or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, we're not doing it anymore. And then they all came back.
Yeah, there's a bunch coming back, including PMX was one because PMX, like I know PMX did do that year before the pandemic, but they skipped a year too, and then like everyone's like, yeah, they're not going to come back, and then they did,
and they came back. So
and hopefully, Anime California comes back. I mean, they haven't so far, but it's come back once before after disappearing. So
I think it also has to do with the fact that during like the peak of pandemic, a bunch of people started watching anime, right? So, or like started to go on the internet and get more immersed in like Japanese culture or whatever, right? So, and also maybe like Netflix or something. So that's why people are so interested now in going to cons because a lot of normies became like, oh, I'm interested in anime and Japanese pop culture now. So it's probably why that there's like newer people that never went to cons pre-pandemic because they did not care about anime or anything. But now there's a new set of people that are interested, kind of like when younger people first start. And also just a lot of younger people. I think a lot of kids are into anime now. Like, it's crazy. You go to like any mall and all the kids are wearing anime shirts. Where was that energy? Before?
It's funny hearing someone as young as Tiffany complain about kids, because I talked about this many a time, but like obviously I'm like a bit older than Tiffany. Actually, not that much. I don't want to say a different generation, but I'm older than Tiffany, so I remember a different like young anime con scene. But even when I was like going to anime conventions for the first time in 2000, like 2-ish, 4-ish, there were like the boomer fans who were like, kids these days don't know anime. Where is this? Or, where were you when I was fan subbing my tapes?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, I gotta import all my stuff from Japan. It was hard.
So yeah, it's just funny hearing these things. I'm like, yeah, fucking kids. God damn you kids.
Yeah, those kids. It's so easy for them.
I was talking to a lot about Homestuck today for some reason.
Oh no, why?
Well, I came up. I went to this. I don't know if you saw my post, but I went to the store and I saw Faygo, the drink Faygo, and I was so excited I bought it. And I know it because it's like the Juggalo drink, like Insane Clown Posse. Yeah. But apparently, a lot of weebs know it because I guess it's somehow tied to Homestuck. If somebody knows how that is, tell me in the chat, tell me in the comments. I don't know how it's tied to Homestuck, but apparently it is.
I see.
And so I was thinking about Homestuck, and I'm like, wasn't that a weird period of anime conventions when like there would be hundreds of Homestuck trolls, but it had nothing to do with anime.
No. And they were always competing with like the other weird big groups of like, you know what I mean? Like the other types of like there was like the Homestuck ones, but then there's also like the big Hetalia crowd, and like,
oh my god,
they were kind of like semi-competing. And then
I feel like I
point,
blocked
Bronies popped in.
Oh my god,
weird point in
fandoms.
And
yeah, I forgot all about Hetalia. Whatever happened to that? I know that technically was an anime, but how? What the fuck happened to that? Like, I feel like
it had a new season like a year or two ago.
Okay, clearly that season didn't catch the cultural zeitgeist the original did, I guess, because I did not see any new like.
I haven't seen a group of people holding flags and running around or whatever. That was a long time.
I won't name who because I don't really talk to them anymore. But I remember I had a friend of mine who had this cosplay, and she would always tell everyone she was cosplaying from Hetalia. And I never seen it, so I didn't know until we walked up to someone. Because mind you, she was wearing a very Chinese-y looking outfit, and of course, Manuel will be talking to a Chinese-y looking cosplayer.
Yeah,
but she would always tell people it was from Hetalia. Told me it was from Hetalia. I didn't know any better. I'm like, yeah, cool. And then eventually, somebody who took a picture is like, "There's no China and Hetalia." She's like, "Yeah, it's an OC." So I had a friend.
China's
that.
in Hetalia.
China's
one of the main characters.
I don't know. Well, I think China didn't dress like that.
Yeah.
Are they called?
They're just all called by the name of their country for the most part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, hi, I'm Japan, or you know.
Yeah. Well, all I know is because I had a friend who who created their own Chinese OC, or at least they thought they did. So
it was just that generation Sonic OCs.
Yeah.
It was Hetalia.
I mean, China's basically just generally in like a green jumpsuit or something.
Oh, then that definitely was not what they were wearing.
Yeah, because there was a China, but it wasn't like a main character or anything, I think.
Oh, don't get me started. See, it's funny because like I see Death Note around the same time. I'll never forget the fucking in character fucking what are their names? L. First of all,
L.
Talking about Haosu and Ringu, I used to be so annoyed. The very first time I ever really encountered that kind of annoyance was with some of the very young weebs who would call L Eru.
His symbol is a giant L. How are you going to dispute that?
They would call him, and they'd also call I remember I had a friend who also called Light Raito.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They say Laito.
So yeah. Do you call it Death Noto too, or whatever?
No, they don't. They should be calling it Death Noto too. And it would have been funnier. Well, if they committed that far, then I would allow that.
I mean, yeah. What's funny about Death Note? I'm sure Tiffany can vouch for this too. The reason it's called Death Notebook is Death Note. I already ruined my punchline. I already ruined my punchline. The reason it's called Death Note is because in Japan you call a notebook a note, So technically, Death Notebook would be the translation.
Yeah, but Death Note sounds so much better.
Yeah, Death Note. I guess, Death Notebook wouldn't sound right. Maybe they should have called it Death Book.
Death Book, yeah, call it Death Book. Because calling it Death Note, I think it's kind of a weird, I expected a letter, and then I'm like, oh, it's note, as in like the Japanese note,
Death Pad, like a notepad.
Death memo pad. Like Tuesday, kill Eru.
No.
That would have been a funnier premise. It's like planned, right? Well,
that's how the Death Note works. That's how Light plans a whole lot of his murders. It's like, okay, kill this guy, Tuesday, heart attack. Or walks out of his cell, writes a note.
First, he could just write a name and it'll just happen. But then, he's like, I'm gonna put the name and the time. So it's basically a memo pad, right?
Yeah, there are rules about how you can write stuff in there. You can write the time. If not, they'll die. And I think it's 6 seconds. And if you don't list a cause, they'll die of a heart attack.
Yeah. Exactly.
Also, if you misspell their name like 4 times, they're now immune to the Death Note.
Is that really a plot point?
No, it's never a plot point. It's just a rule.
Oh, I didn't know.
There's a whole bunch of rules that are never used.
That's a really interesting rule. Well, I guess you can did they never use that? They never put their own name and misspelled it. I mean, times.
That's if I was fucking Light, I put Raito, just keep misspelling the name until fucking. It's like, oh, can't kill me anymore.
And you have to write the person's real name and picture their face, which is a strategy. L uses when like they first meet face to face. Like he says, "Hey, my name is famous person's name," so that like whenever he tries to write that name, which isn't L's real name, down, that famous person will die instead. It's like if that happens, he knows light is L or light is Kira. Sorry,
something like that. Yeah.
All I remember is that like fucking L cosplayers. It was the easiest.
They have to do everything like they have to, instead of holding it like this, they gotta hold it like this.
Yeah. Oh, I remember going to that Denny's, that fucking Denny's by the convention center in LA. Like, you would see all these L cosplayers with their feet up.
Oh and I'm like, ew, yeah, that was a time.
It increases his
I forgot about that.
thinking capacity by like 40%.
Yeah. And the fucking Denny's, they're like with their feet, and usually they're barefoot too, and they would have their nasty feet on like on the fucking Denny's chairs or whatever. I'm like, bro, get your fucking feet up. And every so often the servers would be like, can you get your feet off the whatever? And they'd be like, they just look at them because they're in character. Or they say something. I'm like, okay, just leave the 16-year-old weeb alone.
Oh my god. I don't know if it's worse. Like, I don't know. They were both like really low effort cosplays, but I feel like L at least was like people would try to like draw like makeup and stuff. But Light was just literally, I don't know. No one would even try in the hair. I don't even know if they would even wear an outfit or anything. They just hold a Death Note.
Just hold. Like, you just hold the fuck. You buy that shit from fucking. I think they used to actually sell it at like bookstores. Like you could buy the Death Note like at Barnes and Noble.
Sometimes they would just make their own. They just like have like a black notebook. I had someone at school. I think she made her own. She's like, I made my own Death Note. I'm like, you're gonna kill someone, or do you have intention to kill? Kind of scary.
It's getting dark. Yeah, like what the fuck? At least go buy the one from Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, at least that's official merch. She's just making her own knockoff.
Oh man, those are some shade. Those are some shady days. Well, I guess we're not seeing any of that. Imagine putting your feet up at the Denny's today.
Oh, yeah, nowadays people know that's all OnlyFans content, okay?
That's only, you get those feet, you sell them on the internet, precious. And people will pay you.
You cannot fling those things around carelessly, okay? Those are money makers. Come on.
Tiffany feet OnlyFans when?
I'm saving it. I'm saving it when I can't do my actual job anymore.
It's like, this is my retirement plan.
Yeah, exactly. There's a niche for that, right? Wrinkly toes.
There's a niche for feet.
Yeah.
Wait, the CC cosplay with
C2.
Wait, what? What CC cosplay?
C2 from Code Geass.
C2?
It's around C2.
Yeah, like from Code Geass?
Yes.
It's Code Geass. C2
it's the mech show with clamp designs.
Yeah. The guy with the one eye.
I actually know someone. It's funny because every so often I'll see like when somebody mentions an anime and I'll Google it. I'm like, I've seen so many cosplayers from this, and I did not.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yeah.
There was a character I used to always think was from I can't remember her name now. Mind you, I've seen this a long time. This isn't recent. But when I saw Madoka Magica, I was like, oh, that character is from there. I used to think she was from Ruby. The blonde one.
Oh,
the blonde one.
Mommy.
Yeah, Mommy.
I used to think she was from Ruby for years. And I think that
somewhat. I guess there's a blonde character.
Yeah, but that's Yang, isn't it? Or Wong?
Is that racist of me? Is that blonde sis?
Yang or Yang or
Yang. Let me look this up. Yang, Ruby, and see how like fucked up I was being.
They don't look. She doesn't look anything. Mommy, as far as I can remember.
I mean, come on.
Other than being blonde.
If blonde,
I don't think they dress anything similarly.
If you've never seen either show, I love how this one apparently is very clearly Chinese. Like, at least their name is very Chinese. So I'm like, I'm being not very China Boo right now by making this, by not knowing these characters apart. But yeah, oops. That's my character. This is a few others, but that's a big one. I used to think that was the girl from Ruby until I watched Madoka Magica a few years back. This is years ago though. This is still like 5 years ago. So I haven't been under that impression for a while, thankfully. But I don't know. Back to events. What else? We got in a mad. How did we get on this detour about like feet? Oh man, but yeah, I don't know. Cons are different now. Cons are different in a lot of ways, not just because people aren't putting their feet up on shit.
Yeah. Not that long time ago.
a lot a lot of cons have been selling out, which I think is weird. Not the big ones, but like the AXs. I mean, not the big ones, not the small ones. The AXs keep selling out, which strikes me as odd. Because like fucking Chibi sold out. Honestly, I still call shenanigans on that. Like, did it really sell out, or were they just like, yeah, this is all we're gonna sell?
Yeah, I think they just didn't sell that many. They probably didn't sell a ton.
They probably just they probably either said a really low speculation. But don't sue me, AX, in case you're like, we sold out. But it honestly felt like they just sold. They had a set amount, which technically probably wasn't even capacity, and they're like, yeah, we're done. Because we don't want to hire more staff or some bullshit. It's funny because there were a lot of like weirdly biggish guests there, like Japanese wise. Like they had that one idol. Remember? I can't remember her name. The one who was from Necronom Idol, but now she's solo. And like, yeah, exactly. I don't even know her. I don't think I ever knew her name, but she's like she had her overseas debut at AX Chibi. And like, I only know this because I have a lot of people on Twitter who like are like fans.
Chibi, didn't she perform at the other thing?
What?
The idol thing. What is it? The Western Idol thing.
She went there too, but that was first.
Right?
Yeah,
that thing was first because that was PMX
first.
Weekend.
Yeah, because the Idol Festival was PMX, but she went to both. But that one was for Chibi was first, right?
No, Chibi's after. Chibi
was really?
Recently. Yeah, because I remember all they had that AI vendor there, and everyone was like, "The hell is this?" And that was like after PMX.
Oh, well, well, I guess. Well, it was still one of her first things, but it's still my point to actually saying that I guess this is better for her then, because nobody went to that AX show, and the reason I know this is because there's like footage of it, and like the one video that everyone was sharing was like they're like all my friends who are fans of like of Necronom Idol and all title stuff. I assume if they went, they probably went to the Northwest Idol Fest, but none of them even traveled to go see her at fucking SoCal. Like, I feel like nobody went unless they were already local. But one of the big videos they were sharing was from somebody who didn't know who she was, like some random person was at the con. It's like, oh, there was some idol on stage. They filmed a song or two and they just posted it, and everyone were retweeting that. And I'm like, guys, isn't it kind of weird that the retweet, like, I would have just stole that video and retweeted it myself, because the tweet they were sharing was like people who were like, who's this person? Yeah. My point to bring it up, that was a wasted con. There was a lot of good talent at that con that was wasted. They had that one, I can't remember her name, the one, this Japanese bass does like the bass covers. And I'm like, who's that? Yeah, I know that girl. I've seen her on YouTube.
Wait, what's her name? I have to look that up.
Something with I can't remember her name now, but they had people I knew, and I'm like, wow, they are wasting these people at this event. Like, who reached out to who in this situation? Because I assure you, nobody knows who she is who went there. Like, I barely know who she is. But anyway,
find it. Who is it? I'll look it up.
S. Minnow Johnson. What are you guys talking about?
If you were a pirate, if you're a pirate captain, what would the name of your ship be?
Oh, you put that in the thing?
Yes.
What's the name of the One Piece ship?
Which one?
Oh, is there more than one Piece ship?
There. Okay, are you talking just for the Straw Hat Pirates, or for?
Isn't it called the Lucky something, or like?
They first had the Going Merry, then that got destroyed and died in one of the most tragic things ever committed to anime. I will stand by this. And then it was its will was inherited by the Thousand Sunny, which is their current ship.
That's the one. The Thousand Sunny is the one I was thinking about.
There's also the Moby Dick, the Oro Jackson. I'm trying. There are other ships for other pirates.
The Thousand Sunny. The only reason it's a Thousand Sunny I was thinking about. I just remember when I was in Taiwan, there was this obviously bootleg, but there was a street vendor who was selling like they're like boar hot dogs, but they're hot dogs, basically boar sausages. But it was selling hot dogs, and like it was called the thousand it's a Chinese one, like the 1,000 hot dogs basically, but it was like it was built like the ship. It was a big ass cart. I just remember like, oh look, it's a bootleg One Piece like themed restaurant pop up. Oh man. Anyway, did you look up the basis, Tiffany?
Is it
basis?
Is it
AX.
Kotori?
Yes.
This person's not from Japan though.
No, they're not?
No, they're from Seattle.
Oh.
Seattle is my favorite city in Japan, Manuel.
Yeah. It is a city in Japan. Well, Manuel doesn't know anything. Apparently Snakz. Oh wait, never mind. Snakz talking about something else. Anyways, AXGB was still a waste. It was still a waste of talent. Not that it was a waste of an event. I hope that if they ever do it again, they move it out of fucking Ontario. Honestly, move it somewhere else. Even I don't even care if you take it out of California. Just put it somewhere I would be willing to go. Like, if I'm gonna go out of my way, I'm not gonna go to fucking Ontario again.
That's true. There's not really anything in Ontario at all.
Unless you live there.
Yeah.
Like, even ALA moved away from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. You looking forward to any other convents? Any other events or conventions, Tiffany? ALA's coming up.
I guess. I'm always like looking forward to ALA, but always nervous because I'm always performing there. And we haven't even decided anything solid yet. And it's a month away.
Serious?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Everyone, you're hearing it here now. Whatever they end up performing at ALA, they did not know about it at this moment in time.
Yeah. That means it's extra impressive if it looks good at ALA. But if it looks bad, we have an excuse, you know? Yeah. We're planning it tomorrow. We're having a meeting tomorrow and we're finalizing songs tomorrow.
It's funny because I remember there's I just remember there's like there have been a couple times where, how do I say this? There have been a couple times where Angie's had a performance. She's the other half of Dempop, by the way, the group that's performing at ALA, where like she's hung out with like BMI people the night before, and then the next morning when she has the performance, she's fucking dead.
How was ALA 2019?
She was dead. Remember that? She was like, I have such a headache. I don't feel good.
Yeah. She was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm so hungover. I was like, you gotta do it. We gotta do it. And she pulled through, but I remember she was probably like so thirsty or like so hungover that time.
That was good. That was good memories. Yeah. You haven't been around, but we mentioned these stories a bit without naming names. Not that I'm naming them anymore, but about like it's like, oh, let's party up this person, and like, here you go, Tiffany, have fun with the aftermath.
Thanks. But this time it's not just us two. It's also with Claire. So. Oh,
the three of you are performing. It's not just Dempop.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you perform with Claire outside of. Actually, I've never have. Oh, no, I have. She was part of like fucking Hello Musume, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the only other time I've ever seen you. That was years ago.
Yes, that was a long time ago. Hello Musume was a while back.
We were talking about that in our thing last time, and about how that Fanime 2015 was the first time I'd met a lot of people, both officially and not officially. Like I remember I met like Molly and I met like Heidi officially, but like you and Angie and Claire and Marjorie and whoever else I'm forgetting were performing on stage in various capacities.
Yeah.
But I had no idea who any of you were.
Yeah.
Like I did. It's funny because I don't know if I ever told you this, but I do. One of my specific memories of being at Stage Zero a lot, because like I was actually going to cons a lot more back then, like actually like physically outside and filming performances, taking pictures of performances. Was I'm like, who is this girl who is in every group? Because you were like,
was it me? Yeah.
Yes. Because you had that group with was it ATM with like with Marjorie and what's her face and with Ami, and then you were also with the Hello Musume, and there was another group I think you were in, and then you were obviously in Fanime, and you were like emceeing a bunch of shit. And in all the groups, you were always talking. And I'm like, who the fuck is this girl that's in everything?
Yeah, I think at one point, the peak, I was in like every day of the con, I had a performance on Stage Zero, and I used to also do this like Vocaloid cover group. And so I had to like cosplay. I think that was like usually on a Friday or something or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. And then I had Hello Musume, and then I did ATM, and I did Fanime. So I was just constantly performing. So every day I'd tell Caesar, like, hey, see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Tiami. Remember when Tiami was like a thing?
Yeah.
But I remember Tiami was like the big one, quote unquote. Like you guys were like at a lot of things.
It was the one that was most active, and then it wasn't because she stopped showing up to practices and to performances. So
Has she gotten the con bug back? Is she doing conventions again?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, here I am. Am I like digging into like uncomfortableness? Like I need to know the
I don't care. Am I supposed to not talk about it on a stream though?
Oh, okay. Let's not talk about it. I mean, because I name dropped a couple people that I clearly can that we could go off on tea about, but we're not about not about the drama.
Not on the stream.
But yeah, there's I guess let's devote some last time to ALA. ALA is gonna be fun. We're doing what are we doing there, Tiffany? We're doing we're doing the JV panel.
Yes.
Which we won't talk about much here. It's 18 plus.
Can't talk about it.
But please come to that. It's actually at a very early time. It's on Friday night, which is day 2 at like 9 p.m. So it's at a very prime
I don't
time.
have to sleep super late. That's good.
Yeah, because one of my big annoyances sometimes about doing 18 plus panels, why I'm scared to submit them, is I hate getting that like after midnight time slot.
Yeah, I'm sleepy by that time. I don't want to talk about stuff anymore.
And not only that, but like in my case, that's when I'm drinking. It's like you're gonna get me at the most fucked up. I'm gonna be dragging my ass there. Probably not like the point of like being carried like the old days, but I am not gonna be in the perfect mood to like talk about shit. I'll be slurring my words. I'll be like I just want to get back and drink some more. And yeah, but it's early enough for doing that. I'm also doing the J-pop panel again, the 80s one. So that'll be fun.
When are you gonna do the 90s one?
At Fanime, like I said, I don't know if you'll be able to come because you'll be all working.
Fanime? Out of all the cons that you could do it at, it's the busiest con.
I've actually started writing. Yeah, I started writing that panel already too. So I'm like, just like I have some groundwork, and also because I had to do some more work on the fucking Oricon thing, and I'm like, I don't really want to do this research twice. So I kind of just started taking more notes a second time. So so now I have most of the notes I'll ever need, and unless I want to do something really crazy in the future. But yeah. Oh yeah, you went to the ADG. If you come to it at ALA, Terrence, it's a completely it's mostly different panel. There's some songs I was like, okay, I can't take this out because I fucking wanted to talk about this song. But most of the songs are different, and I actually did include like a SMAP section, not SMAP. I called them SMAP. I included a Hikaru Genji section and some other.
Oh shit. My god, SMAP was wrong.
I called Hikaru Genji. No, that sounds racist. Asian boys, Japanese boys, same group. Same thing. SMAP, Hikaru Genjis, they're really a difference.
Yeah, there's no difference. They're just the same. They have black hair.
Okay, that was racist. You over there
Manuel?
with the purple hair. Yes.
Yeah. Let's just start wrapping it up.
We're talking about we have a whole year of con to talk about. We're doing it. AX panels are coming. Hopefully we'll fucking get a panel this year. Hopefully we don't catch Omicron. Hopefully AJ lives until 21. Or I guess I live 21. I guess AJ keep living to 21 without me. But yeah. And then hopefully JD doesn't lose his head like Ned Stark.
Yay.
JD.
Yes, I very much like my head. As much as I would like to have more hair, I still like the head.
Everything else can go, just the head can stay.
My one great lot in life, and I probably jinx it by saying this, is that like I've been graying since a very young age, but I have thankfully I guess it's still called male-pattern baldness because it could happen to anyone, but technically that does not run in my family. We've all been like very fully headed, hairy people. So yes.
Fully headed with hairy people.
That was a weird way to phrase that, yeah.
It doesn't run in my family. I'm just the one unlucky enough to get it.
Oh, rip your hair, literally. Just become a billionaire and get like hair transplants like Elon Musk and then call it.
Yeah, but my family doesn't own an emerald mine in South Africa.
Oh, we're getting banned from Twitter now. a fun time. It's been a fun run on Twitter. Dude, it's funny because I wanted originally when I was talking about having you on, I wanted to do the cool news stories 2022, and I'm like, the only reason I didn't do that because I didn't want to do enough research on my own end. That like, and one would be like the Twitter buyout, the Elon Musk buying Twitter, and it's funny because I don't use Twitter much, but like, it's been a fun time, hasn't it, Tiffany? Seeing Twitter implode.
I don't know, fun, yeah, fun. It's been a time. I don't know about fun.
It's funny because like a YouTuber I watched, Thought Slime, great YouTuber by the way. They did a video on like the timeline of Elon Musk's like Twitter buyout, and it's so funny because they keep pointing it out. It's like nowhere else would a multi-billion-dollar deal have this many memes. Like it's ridiculous that like dude is like costing everyone, including himself, billions of dollars. He's like, lol, 69 420. It's like, bro, you're fucking 50. Calm down.
No, he acts like he's not 50. He acts like he's like 12. So that's fun.
I legitimately didn't know. Don't worry, JD. I'm gonna wrap it up. I legitimately didn't know until I watched that video that the Tesla, because whenever I hear how much a Tesla costs, they say 70,000. I didn't know its price is 69 420. Did you know that, Tiffany?
Really?
Yeah. Yes. That's not a joke. Its price is 69 420.
Also, it's too expensive, but that's beyond the point.
But it's 69 420. I always hear 70,000. That's what you always hear reported, which I guess is what it is. But I'm like,
I don't want to report 69 420. That's why.
But it's like every time he comes up with numbers, it's always a 69 or a 420. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. It's like, even when I do it as a joke so you guys can make fun of me. I don't think it's a funny joke to make. Like, a funny internet number 69.
It's supposed to be funny, like, oh, you're the joke. Haha. No, it's not supposed to be like the joke is funny.
We'll wrap it up there. What are we doing next week, JD? UPZ?
UPZ?
You have another...
no DTR this week, but you're playing Wild Arms 2 tomorrow, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I like how you have our schedule down more than I do, which is true.
It's like, you don't know what you're doing, Manuel?
I actually kind of forgot. Yeah, next week is DTR, which is Drink Talk Roll. I think next week will be the last week of normal shows. We'll probably do a UPZ after that, but I think that's kind of the end, because after that, it's Christmas. So, yeah.
When am I ever going to get included in those tier list streams, huh?
I know.
You never include me in the fun ones. You always include me in these, and we just do boomer talk. I hate it.
You know how much work I have to do to get Manuel to actually plan a stream more than like 2 days in advance?
Oh, I know.
Generally, I have to make the stream myself happen, or happen myself for something like that.
And there were sometimes back in the old days of UPZ, and I'm sure Tip, or even like AJ Talks, even long before that, where we didn't know what we were going to talk about until like we met before the show. It's like, what do we talk about? Remember?
Yeah, we planned it like 30 minutes before. Or whatever.
It's like we brainstorm some things, and like Rose might get some, especially the AJ Talks, and Rose is always around. Like, they get some like videos to talk about, or some shit like that, and then we just go from there. And it's funny because even though we're wrapping up now, don't worry, JD, the show's a lot more compact and tighter. But back in those days, not only did it almost always run at 2 hours, but like there'd be some times where we just ran how it wanted to. There'd be times where we're like, oh, we're tired, let's just end it here. Or we'd run into 3 hours.
You're like, I have to go to the bathroom now, so let's end it an hour.
Yeah.
I'm hungry, so let's end it.
So you didn't know what you got back then. Back then it'd be a lot more like we would go on forever and we just stop. I don't know. Great memories times. Pretty much GTR stuff like that too. Anyways, Tiffany, what's new with you? What are you doing besides ALA? Are you doing any cool things? K-pop up stuff?
Yeah, I do a lot of K-pop covers, but it's just like the normal stuff. I'm gonna go to Japan in March. I don't know if that's cool though. That's just personally cool.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes more sense for you because you have family there. I'm always a little like, it's funny. We probably should have talked about this. How like all these weebs are like, as soon as like travel goes. I knew somebody who bought a ticket like the day they were able to for the next day.
Oh my God!
To
for the next
Japan.
day?
Yeah,
wow.
Like they already like came back from Japan like a long time. Like the day that you were able to like start going, and they paid a ton of money because it was like us were doing it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they fucking just they went to Japan literally the second they were like able to. And I was just like, oh my god, there's some weebs where it's like, calm down.
Yeah, they can't wait.
Japan's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I'm kind of over Japan. I mean, like,
hey, what does that mean?
Traveling to like, I'd go there for like things or like to visit people, but I'm over like being shocked and like, you know,
like
impressed.
It's not,
like I don't know, like
it's not like new to you anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. Like now, even the like, I don't think I even told you guys the last time I went. Like I wasn't too public about it, but I think I did tell you when I went, Tiffany. But the last time I went was like in 2019, and I pretty much spent most of my time in the hotel working on shit, doing what I had to do, and then like drinking at Golden Guy like every night. Yeah. Like, so like I didn't even do any. Like I could have done that at home.
It's because you're a China boo now, so all you want to do is go to China instead.
Yeah. China's still surprising, and you know, and it's a lot cheaper too. But that's I don't know. The yen is different. Anyways, wrap it up. So Tiffany's going to Japan. Tiffany's doing K-pop up stuff. Tiffany, in case you don't know, that she has a K-pop dance crew.
Yeah, I guess it's like a community. We do like teaching. It's not like a professional thing. It's not like the other crews where they're like audition based. It's just like we do it for fun.
I'm not gonna lie, there are times I'm surprised how like maybe it's because like everyone I know is like in this area in these similar circles, but it always shocks me how many times people know you. Like
what? They know me?
Yeah, like and I'm not even I've told you this already. Like every so often, like people know you from the K-pop stuff.
Oh, cool!
Like, that's that girl who's like, and even like completely out of left field. It's like, oh, what the fuck? You know Tiffany? Yeah, things like that. It just blows my mind.
All right.
Tiffany's famous. TLDR. Let's wrap it up. So that's our stream plans. Shout out to Ed and Kenneth, our current patrons. If you want to become a Patreon, there's good shit up there. You can see Tiffany's performance exclusively there. I didn't know where to put it because YouTube has been not YouTube. Koto's been fucking with us and giving us copyright strikes.
Koto, come on, get your shit together. You're retired. Stop it.
So yeah, we've been getting copyright strikes because of that. So I didn't know where to put it. So as of now, most of the performances are going to be until we figure it out. I want it to not be, but the Patreon exclusive. So you can go see Tiffany's performance at PMX there now. Until I'm able to figure that out. If I'm ever able to figure it out, I don't even know. I want to host it on the site, but I feel like that might lead us to legal issues. So I'm like Koto sues ATG Connections. That's not the fight I want to have. No. Anyways, that's it. Shout out to everything else. And what am I missing, JD? See you next Tuesday, 6 p.m.
Night.
Peace.